Zeus is probably the most famous god in ancient Greek mythology. How he came to power is closely related to the Titan War, otherwise known as the Titanomachy. The Titan War is a story depicting the struggle for reign over the cosmos between two sides, the Titans and the emerging gods. If you haven't watched our video on the origin of creation and how the Titan Cronus came to power, do consider giving it a watch as it'll help you understand this story better. The tale begins when Cronus, the youngest first-generation Titan, usurped his father Uranus and took over as ruler of the cosmos. Cronus did so at the behest of his mother, Gaia. She was furious at Uranus for imprisoning her other children, the Cyclopes and the Hecatonchires, deep inside the earth, inside her. So her initial plan was to persuade Cronus to overthrow Uranus and help her free his imprisoned siblings. But Cronus grew wicked, and instead of freeing them, he changed the location of their prison to Tartarus and assigned the dragon Campi to guard their prison. Infuriated, the now reconciled Gaia and Uranus told a prophecy of Cronus. As he has usurped his own father, so shall his youngest son overthrow his rule as well. After becoming supreme ruler, Cronus took Rhea, his Titan sister, as his spouse. As the days passed, Cronus grew increasingly worried that the prophecy might come true. So every time Rhea gave birth to their children, Cronus immediately swallowed the newborn child in his attempt to defeat the prophecy. Mind you, these gods don't die even when they're swallowed. They just grew up inside Cronus' belly instead, trapped and imprisoned there. With every swallowed child, Rhea's feeling of grief grew deeper until one day, when their youngest child Zeus was born. Rhea hatched a plot to transport Zeus to safety, without Cronus' knowing. Right after Zeus was born, Rhea gave him away to Gaia to care for and raise in a place that's known only to Gaia. She then wrapped a stone the size of a godling baby in blankets and gave that to Cronus instead. Dim-witted Cronus didn't even doubt that what she gave him was a rock, since Rhea had obediently given their other children up previously. So he swallowed the rock, and he was sure that his reign was still safe from his offspring. Gaia carried Zeus away to Crete, raised by the nurturing goat Amalthea and a dedicated group of nymphs. Zeus's caretakers often told him tales of the events concerning the other titans and gods. And of course, they also told him about the circumstances regarding his siblings. As the years went by, Zeus grew up safely to be a strong and wise god, away from Cronus' sight and influence. When he reached adulthood, Zeus made the decision to free his brothers and sisters who were trapped inside his wicked father's gut. Zeus went to consult with the Titan spawn Metis, one of the nymphs born from Oceanus and Tethys. Metis was known for her wisdom and cunning, hence the reason Zeus went to her. Metis told Zeus that in order to free his siblings, Zeus had to make Cronus regurgitate his swallowed siblings, and she gave him the means to do just that in the form of a potion. Zeus then devised a plan to get his father to drink the potion. He disguised himself as a cupbearer to the king, serving drinks for Cronus. As Cronus had never seen Zeus before, not even his adolescent face, he had no idea of the true identity of his own cupbearer. When the chance presented itself, Zeus deftly slipped the potion into one of Cronus' drinks and served it to him. As soon as Cronus drank the concoction, he started to regurgitate everything he'd swallowed. First came the rock, which he swallowed last. Then one by one his siblings came out, starting with Hera, then Poseidon, Demeter, Hades, and lastly Hestia. In the moments of shock that struck Cronus, Zeus quickly gathered his siblings and made haste to Mount Olympus. At Mount Olympus, he made the declaration of war against his father's rule together with his siblings, and rallied all the deities who would hear his call to fight for his cause. Zeus promised to give anyone who joins him the freedom to keep their current office and sovereign, and promised new ones to those who didn't have any during Cronus' rule. Mount Olympus became the base of operations for Zeus' side, later known as the Olympians, while Mount Othrys became the base for the opposing Titans. Zeus's female siblings Hera, Hestia, and Demeter chose to abstain from the war and went into hiding in Oceanus and Tethys' realm, as Oceanus had chosen to remain neutral in the war. The female Titans, sisters of Cronus, also chose to abstain from the war, and thus began the Titanomachy. As soon as Gaia heard Zeus' rallying call, she came to Zeus and provided counsel to him. She said that victory would surely be his if he freed her imprisoned children, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires. Zeus was wise enough to know that Gaia's counsel would more often than not prove to be true, so he made it his first priority to free Gaia's children from Tartarus. Zeus and his siblings made their way to Tartarus and encountered Campi, the warden Cronus has assigned to guard the prison of Gaia's spawns. Zeus and his siblings managed to defeat Campi and free their target. He then brought them to Olympus and provided them refuge against Cronus's forces. The Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires were free at last, after being imprisoned all their life. They rested at Olympus while the war was being fought. Now the full account of the Titan War was lost to time, and most of the story we get comes from Hesiod's poem, Theogony. Theogony tells the Titan War from a genealogy point of view, so we'll be talking more on the important deities that played a significant role in the Titan War. The Titanomachy lasted for 10 years, a decade-long struggle to determine the fate of the cosmos. On the Titan side, Cronus was joined by his brothers and their relatives. The Titans Iapetus, Hyperion, Coeus, Creus, and 2 sons of Iapetus, Atlas and Menetius. Though Cronus' siblings were very powerful, Cronus gave the command of his army and the title General to Atlas. On the opposing side, Zeus's ranks started out with only him and his 2 older siblings Hades and Poseidon, the Earthshaker. But other gods and beings soon joined their ranks. The first to come was the goddess Styx, daughter of Oceanus, who urged her to join Zeus, even when he has opted to remain neutral. Styx also brought her 4 children with her: Nike, whose name means victory; Kratos, the divine personification of strength; Zelos, the god of eager rivalry and zeal; and Bia, the personification of force and power. Of these 5 godly beings, Nike held the important role of driving Zeus's chariot during the war. And last but not least, Medes, who helped Zeus with freeing his siblings, and oddly enough another child of Oceanus who decided to remain neutral, would also join Zeus and provide the Olympians with counsel. After 10 hard-fought years, the gods and the Titans reached a stalemate, with neither side winning or losing and neither side showing any signs of giving up. Zeus came up with a way to bring new variables to the table. During this decade, the freed Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires were resting and slowly regaining their broken spirit under the refuge of the Olympians. After feeding on ambrosia and nectar, as the gods and goddesses of Olympus do for a decade, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires will finally heal and their spirits restored. Zeus saw this and came to them to ask for their help in the war. He reminded them of their great might and strength, and how Zeus and his brothers had come to their rescue. The Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires were filled with gratitude by what Zeus had done for them and saw the goodness in the gods, so they accepted Zeus's plea, swore their allegiance to Zeus, and finally took part in the war. The 3 Cyclopes were extremely skilled craftsmen, and they went to work straight away, forging divine armaments for Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. For Zeus, they made the iconic thunderbolt, which is poetic as the names of the 3 Cyclopes, which are Brontes, Arges, and Steropes, means thunder, bright, and lightning respectively. For Poseidon, they forged a mighty trident, and lastly for Hades, they fashioned a helm capable of turning its wearer fully invisible. These armaments would turn the tide of war to the Olympians' favor. Many stories depict the use of these armaments in the war, such as when Hades used his helm to sneak into Cronus' armory and destroyed all their weapons and armors. But Zeus's thunderbolt was the mightiest of all. From atop his chariot, driven by Nike, he would cast his bolt at their enemies, utterly pulverizing anything and anyone it touches. It was said that whenever Zeus struck the earth with his thunderbolt, the land would seethe, the earth shakes terribly, flames would erupt wherever it landed, and unspeakably hot vapor arose from any titan it pierces. It was as if the heaven and the earth had met in a terrible clap. One such titan who tasted the thunderbolt was Menetius, who was struck by Zeus's bolt and was sent straight to Erebus, to darkness. The Hecatoncheires also played a pivotal part in the war. With the strength of 100 arms each, they hurled numerous gigantic boulders continuously for days and nights without rest. The Titan army was soon covered in rocks and buried beneath the ground. In this climactic episode, both sides gave everything they've got and a cataclysmic battle ensued. Heaven and earth roared wildly, the seas would not rest, and it was even said that the air, chaos itself, burned fiercely. But the once imprisoned monstrosity that are the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires proved to be the tipping point in this balanced scale, granting victory, finally, to the Olympians. In the aftermath, Zeus imprisoned all the remaining Titans inside Tartarus and appointed the 3 Hecatoncheires to be their warden, the role of jailer and prisoner, now so poetically reversed. For Atlas, though, the general of the Titan army, Zeus had a special punishment. Zeus would have Atlas hold up the damaged sky, which was the sundered Uranus at the end of the world, in perpetuity, forever bearing the weight of the sky on his back as his punishment. With the help of the Cyclopes, Poseidon fashioned a bronze prison for the Titans to hold them and surround their prison in Tartarus with walls. The Cyclopes were then given their own forges beneath Mount Olympus for them to work on as they pleased. As for the female Titans, since they had no part in the war, Zeus didn't punish them and let them keep their respective dominion. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades then drew lots to determine who would preside over which part of the cosmos. Hades was given dominion over the underworld and the dead, Poseidon the seas and everything in it, and Zeus the heavens. Zeus was then crowned as ruler of the cosmos, replacing Cronus and fulfilling the prophecy Gaia and Uranus had foretold. Zeus's allies in the war were also rewarded handsomely. The goddess Styx was appointed to be the Great Oath of the Gods. Hers would be the name to utter whenever the gods would make an oath, and a terrible price to pay if her name was uttered in vain. She was given a home at the entrance to the underworld. Like her father Oceanus, Styx was also a river. This is how the river Styx in the underworld came to be. The 4 children of Styx who aided Zeus in the war were entrusted to become his wing enforcers, trusted companions that Zeus would keep by his side at most times and call upon whenever decisive strength was needed to resolve a situation. And Metis, who aided Zeus from the beginning, became the first wife of Zeus. During Zeus's reign, numerous gods were given dominion and assigned office and duty, but the top of Mount Olympus would remain to be the office of the famous 12 primary gods. Eventually though, many minor gods would also take residence in and around Mount Olympus. The only one who was dissatisfied on Zeus's side was Gaia. Even as her children were freed from Tartarus, she disliked the fact that Tartarus was filled back up with her own children again, the first generation male Titans. This dissatisfaction would fester over the years and cause Gaia to coax the giants into trying to topple Zeus's rule, causing the Gigantomachy. But that's a tale for another time.